Hello, welcome back to another War podcast episode. Um, Today we are diving over to China. Why? Because Biden warns Xi Jinping about China's ongoing support for Russia in mid-Ukraine war. So still focusing over in Europe, but it's also over in Asia, more down to the south instead of northern Russia. But anyway, U.S. President Joe Biden and China's leader Xi Jinping spoke in a Tuesday phone call. The leaders discussed global conflicts, including China's support for Russia amid the Ukraine war. Russia has managed to maintain its economic thanks to, in part, to its trade partnership with China. U.S. President Joe Biden warned China's leader Xi Jinping about his government's ongoing support for Russia amid the war in Ukraine during a Tuesday phone call between the two world leaders. So basically, a global superpower talking to someone that counts every boat they have as a naval vessel. This probably went amazingly well. Biden's and Xi's conversation this week was the first time they had spoken since the meeting for a summit in California last November. A senior administrator official told reporters in a background call that the discussion was a check-in as the two countries attempt to manage rising global tensions, according to social media reports. Over the course of an hour and 45 minutes, Biden and Xi hit on several hot-button issues, including mounting U.S. concerns regarding China's trade partnership with Russia 2 years into the latter's war in Ukraine, according to the White House readout of the call. More than 2 years after invading Ukraine in February 2022, Russia has managed to keep its economy alive, refocusing much of its trade from the west to the east and south, primarily China and India. Despite allying itself from the majority of the world, Russia continues to maintain an economic ally in China whose ongoing support was helped Russia rebuild its defense industry during a virtual moment in the war. A vital moment in the war, Russia has successfully struck Western sanctions with the help of China as Beijing becomes an alternative market for Russia's banned oil. Some Russian firms have even seen a boom in business since the war, thanks to the lucrative trade deals with Chinese companies who buy up Russian energy supplies and provide Russia with machinery and vehicles as payment. According to a recent Reuters story, a report last month found the Central Bank of Russia is turning to the Chinese yuan for its reserves to avoid Western sanctions. Russian President Vladimir Putin even gave Beijing a shout-out soon after winning his re-election last month. Xi followed up by congratulating Putin, issuing a statement affirming the legitimacy of the carefully engineered election. They're both dictators. It's okay. They will both be killed by their people eventually. Don't wait. Biden and Xi on Tuesday also discussed many of the potential triggers into the two superpowers' tense relationship, including Taiwan, China's provocations in the South China Sea, ongoing conflicts around the world, including the war in Israel and Gaza, according to social media reports. The two previously spoke over the phone in July 2022 and met later that year in Bali. Alrighty, so as we can see, this is not gonna go well. Why? Because if the two, I don't even think China's superpower is China a superpower. China has emerged as an economic superpower that rivals the United States in many ways, although the total economic power of modern democracies, most of which are strategic partners of the United States, vastly exceed the size of the Chinese economy, trade efforts, and efforts in technology and research and development. So it is an economic superpower. But America, that's just a military superpower, economic. We basically have everything but the size of the country. That's basically what we got. So it's an economic superpower, but that's about it. Bing, 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 bing. So we're gonna focus over in China just a wee bit. Gonna head over to Yahoo News. We made it clear USA warns China against providing military support for Russia's war in Ukraine. The United States are concerned about the potential for strengthened military cooperation between Russia and China. The U.S. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said at the press briefing on April 1st the United States opposes China's actions that would support Russia's war against Ukraine. Miller said when answering the question about the planned summit of Russia and Chinese leaders. We made it very clear that we are against China taking any steps that would align with Russia's aggression to Ukraine. So, that's what's written there, and good part on them. Because if we let the two superpower, not superpowers, the super duo, let's call them Russia and China, the super duo, and then the crazy hermit kingdom, North Korea. This is a bad idea. But another thing, if South Korea invaded North Korea and just made the Korean Peninsula, just make it Korea, I feel like the people would be more happy, and there would be way less, threatening of violence. There would be more violence because then they are just right next to China, which would then make it an even better U.S. asset, seeing as how it would be basically on the border with China, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the Korean Peninsula is right next to China, so that would hold so much strategic importance for the Allies, because they could have a straight shot over. But moving on to Biden and Xi Jinping discussed Russia-Ukraine war, Taiwan election security, and concerned. So this is going to focus more with the call. President Joe Biden held a call with Chinese President Xi Jinping on Tuesday morning to address U.S. concerns over China's trade with Russia amid its war with Ukraine, the issues of cyber attacks and election interference, and efforts to counter illicit narcotic traffics, among other regional and global matters, the White House said. I'm going to catch my breath real quick. The check-in call between Biden and Xi, their first discussion since November, was an opportunity for them to talk through about some tough issues and try to ensure that they are responsibly managing the competition between the two countries, a senior administration official said in a background call with reporters on Monday evening. Intense competition requires intense diplomacy to manage tensions, address miscompressions, and prevent unintended conflict, and this call is one way to do that, the official said. China's trade with Russia, as the nation wages war against Ukraine, came up, the White House said, in a readout of the topic of the call, a topic that has been a part of the diplomatic conversation between the U.S. and China since the start of the war. The senior administration official said the U.S. has grown more concerned over China helping to rebuild Russia's defense industrial base, the official said. During the White House press briefing Tuesday, the National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby said the two leaders spoke for about an hour and 45 minutes in the call, which was meant to build on their meeting in Woodside, California in November of last year. Asked that Biden's message was to Xi on misinformation campaigns or election interference efforts by the Chinese government or people associated with it, Kirby said the administration has been clear about its concerns over election security in the U.S. and efforts by certain foreign actors, including some of China, to influence the 2024 election. The Biden administration has undertaken a whole of government effort to protect elections against foreign adversaries and continue to underscore its concerns with China and other countries, the senior official said in the preview of the call, adding to it adding that it's not enough to take the Chinese and their word when they say whether they will take action on that or others, but requires verification of Beijing's efforts. The administration is also committed to convoying to the Chinese government the U.S. concerns about cyber attacks and compromise critical infrastructure, the official said. The call was an opportunity for Biden to reaffirm the long-time One China policy that recognizes Beijing as China's only legal government. It made Xi's efforts to reunify Taiwan with the mainland China and to reallay the importance of peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait, especially regarding to the May presidential inauguration in Taiwan. The senior administration official said another area for potential discussion included U.S. concerns over China's destabilizing actions in the South China Sea, including recent actions by Chinese Coast Guard ships that pose dangers to routine Philippine maritime operations, the official said. China's state news agency Xinhua reported that during their candid, in-depth exchange of views, Xi stressed that the issue of Taiwan is the most insurmountable red line in China-U.S. relations. We will not let